This is the least amount of notes I've ever written. Hello everyone, welcome to In the Armchair. Today we're going to be looking at the second film in the Small Act series by Steve McQueen, Lovers Rock. Before we get into that though, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Lovers Rock was released here on the BBC in the UK and it's on Amazon Prime Video in the rest of the world. The film's set in West London in the 1980s and gives an overview of how house parties used to run in the Caribbean community in this time. The two main leads are Michael Woods, who you'll recognise from Top Boy and Blue Story, and then you've got Armchair Jason Orbin, who stars alongside him. Let me just start by saying I was incredibly disappointed with this movie. This film was about a house party in the 1980s in West London, and that's it. It doesn't really progress from that, other than it showing me how a party is set up initially, to the music being played in the party and the party being done. I didn't really gain anything from this. It didn't provide me with any entertainment value, any interest, any excitement. The main issue I had is that it spent a lot of time dwelling on things that it really didn't need to. For instance, the film starts, it shows us a group of people setting things up for the house party. It shows people moving speakers, food being cooked. But after the first few minutes, you get it, that this is how you would set up. But it takes 10-15 minutes to show. The dialogue is not particularly interesting here. I don't need to see it for that long. I only need to be shown in 2 minutes. Now, if you're someone that grew up in these times, then it might make you reminisce about, oh, okay, I remember doing this, I remember doing that. But I didn't need to see it for this long. I understand Steve McQueen's trying to show the Caribbean culture and what was going on in these sort of times within London, but I felt like the time was focused on the wrong things here and it didn't make it engaging. The conversations and dialogue throughout the film were just dull. They were tiresome. They were a bit lackluster. I just didn't get any oomph or any excitement from them at all, or any interest. Speaking of conversation, I thought Michael Ward's accent was actually on point in this film. Most of the actors in this film, their accents were good. It wasn't like Mangrove, where I had a few issues with some of the accents here and there. One thing I didn't like is that they kept switching literally sentence by sentence between English and patois. I thought Michael Ward's overall performance was good. It was nothing special, but at least it was something different than the Top Boy and the Blue Story. He wasn't playing a gangster. It showed me he's got a slight different side to it. I didn't think he had much to do. It was a very subdued, understated role, but it was decent. And the same with Amara, who played his female love interest in the movie. She did okay. Again, nothing special. And that was the theme of the film. It was okay in parts, but mostly mediocre. Once the party starts going, it literally turns into an extended music video. But the problem was the execution. It had just long, continuous scenes of people dancing. It showed me the slow ones. It was showing me how people used to dance back in the day, which was interesting because it's funny how it's turned from quite respectable to where it is today. But then you didn't need to go back in to zoom in on the slow ones. You've already shown me that a few seconds ago. What was the purpose of that? Why did you need to keep showing me the same shots? We get people were enjoying the music. It was all about the music back in these days. But I got that point after a few minutes, and I kept sitting back waiting for something else to happen, but it never came. From my perspective, I would have rather watched a documentary about what the parties was like for the Caribbean culture back in the 80s. I would have rather seen people speaking about it and then giving me a few shots rather than one long scene of like 20-30 minutes showing me people dancing and smoking and drinking. Like, it didn't need to be this long. There were a few little subplots that happened in the movie that were a bit random to me. It was like things were just thrown in for the sake of it that didn't even really go anywhere. I'm not really sure why these were included and didn't really add too much to the storyline or the characters. So I'm confused as to why they were in it. Overall, this film was about showing a microcosm of how house parties were in the 1980s in London within the Caribbean community. But unfortunately, the film was incredibly slow-paced and dull. I didn't care about any of the characters and wasn't particularly given a reason to care. If you're from this era, you might be slightly interested, maybe entertained specifically by the music in this film. But if you're not, you might just want to give this a miss. 2 stars. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and watch some other videos.